Welcome. Thanks for joining us and tuning in this morning. We are very excited to be hosting our first guest this morning, Dr. Stephanie Hillebrand. She is the Clinical Director and owner of Independence Counseling and Psychological Services right here in Howell. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to be able to share what we are doing at Independence Counseling and get to know the community better.
Well, I think what's great is the community gets to know you a little bit better too. So this is a great opportunity to do that. And I always like to start our show by just asking a little bit about yourself, asking you to share a little bit about yourself. So Stephanie, could you just tell us a little bit about your family and a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. I am married to my husband, Joey, and we have a 2-year-old Vishla named Charlie. Joey and I just celebrated our 7th year wedding anniversary last Wednesday, which was also Cinco de Mayo. We got married in Punta Cana in a torrential downpour ceremony. And in destination weddings, they do their native language, which was Spanish first, and then translate into English. And because of the rain, they just did Spanish. So technically, we don't really have wedding vows. We just agreed to whatever they were saying. So that's a little fun fact about us. We moved to Howell 2.5 years ago after living in Brighton for 7 years. We went from living on the lake to living on acres, so we are getting firsthand experience on how to raise chickens, how to garden, and we've made a lot of mistakes and had a lot of learning opportunities moving from city lake life to the country. So we're happy to be here, happy to be growing roots, and happy to be learning.
Awesome. Well, that's all very exciting. I had no idea that you guys were married in Spanish, and congratulations on 7 years together. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
Was there a reason why you decided on Cinco de Mayo as your day to?
It was a Monday, and we were just kind of picking dates, and we thought it'd be fun to have that date. And when you're getting married, destination doesn't matter the day of the week, so it just happened to fall on when we were there, so let's do it on a Monday and Cinco de Mayo.
Awesome. How fun is that? So very cool. And so tell us a little bit about your educational and professional background.
Education, I graduated high school in 2000, and I went to community college while I lived with my parents. When I transferred to U of M Flint for a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. I graduated in 2005. I had a year before I started my master's program, so I decided to turn continue with undergraduate courses and turn my minor in sociology and criminal justice into a second bachelor degree and kind of use law as a fallback plan if the direction I wanted to go into with psychology didn't work out. From there, I graduated in 2006 with my second bachelor degree. I went on to a 1-year accelerated master's program at the Michigan School of Professional Psychology, and I graduated in 2007 and then started the doctoral program right away. Graduated in 2011 with a doctorate in clinical psychology. And yes, if you are doing the math, I went to college for 11 years.
Wow.
11 straight years.
Well, what made you choose that path or the psychology pathway?
I always wanted to be in the helping profession, and I didn't know which course I wanted to do, whether it was going to be medical or law, and psychology just really fit for me. I really like the idea of being a therapist, not necessarily the research piece, and that's why I chose a clinical degree as opposed to a PhD. I like the idea of just learning to work with people and studying human behavior and helping people overcome patterns and themes of maladaptive adjustments. So that's how I chose that. Professionally, in regards to experience, I've worked with everything in practicums and internships throughout undergrad and graduate school. I've worked in community mental health. I've worked in inpatient settings. I've worked with court-ordered substance abuse. I've worked in the county jail in Washtenaw County and did domestic violence groups with men, and everything in between, from testing to outpatient therapy. Really done it all.
Awesome. No, that's really fascinating, and I think that's what makes you have to have some sort of passion or desire to be in this field, I would assume and imagine, and to really just help people. So that is really kind of fascinating. And then all the different pieces that along the way that you've been able to experience? Was there one in particular that kind of stood out to you that you said, yeah, this is the career path I want to pursue? Or during your professional experience, you talked about the different kind of fields, I guess, you were in, or at least you got to experience throughout it. And was there a few that maybe pointed you in the direction that you're at now?
Opportunity, probably more than anything else, because I think when you're in the learning experience, I was so excited to be a part of everything. Each environment that I was in, I was happy to be a part of the learning and healing process, from the community mental health places, which were more dual diagnosis of cognitive issues in addition to mental health, from being with men that were convicted of domestic violence, like working in the jail with them. It was just a pleasure to be a part of everything. How I ended up on my path was the opportunity to work in a private practice in East Lansing, which was my first job, my first real out of college job, not a practicum or an internship that turned to part-time employment, but that was the opportunity. I was throwing my name into several hats, and that was the hat my name was drawn out of. And I was there for 4 years.
Yeah, and it was a fit, so that's exciting.
It was a great fit.
Well, great. So we talked a little bit about your background, your personal life, and a little bit about your experience and career pathway that led you where you are today. So tell us a little bit about independence counseling.
Independence counseling was a dream turned to reality very quickly for us. In the spring of 2019, one of Joey's relatives asked, Stephanie, why aren't you doing your own private practice? Why don't you set something like that up? And I'm like, there's no way I could do that by myself. I don't have the time, I don't have the skill set to run a whole practice by myself. And I just didn't think of it again. The opportunity presented itself again in the fall, so just a few months later, and I kind of just shifted my mentality. I'm like, all right, I can give it a try. I will rent one small room somewhere, and I will do therapy in that small room just by myself. And within a few months, and a lot of great referrals from people in Howell and Livingston County, recommendations, they all helped us get started, and we opened a 3-room suite with 3 therapists now working for us in March 2020. So it went from, no, I can't do that, to, I can do it a little bit, to we have a pretty professional and great little operation going right outside downtown Howell.
No, that's fantastic, and it's amazing. I always feel like it's one of those meant to be type of situations, right? And so it feels like that truly is how it has worked out for you. So that's wonderful. And what a time to open your business.
This is probably my favorite part of the story. We had a chamber, the Howell Chamber did a ribbon cutting ceremony for us on March 5th, 2020. The schools had their last day on March 12th. March 9th, 16th, the restaurants closed down, and March 19th was when we were open officially in the middle of a pandemic. So we just had to bide our time and be patient and be a resource for people. And eventually, when we were able to open, being able to offer in-person services was something unique that other clinics weren't ready to do because they were so large scale. Us being so small, we were able to control the environment and really offer a safe, sanitary place for people to come in person. And there are still places that are still not in person.
Well, and people need it right now, and there's a big difference. When you're seeking that type of treatment versus, being able to do it in person. It's really, in some cases, I'm assuming a necessity to be able to do that. So can you tell us a little bit about your mission and some of the treatments that you do? We as independence counseling, our goal is to help people discover their independence. And that comes in many shapes and forms and walks of life. So independence from addiction, trauma, past relationships, childhood issues, previous mental health. Our goal is to help people find a way to cope and deal with their past, their future in a way that's healthy. And our goal for therapy is to not need therapy. We're very goal-oriented. We're very directive in our approach to helping people become healthier people. We utilize cognitive behavioral and humanistic therapy, which
focuses on thoughts, feelings, patterns, and behaviors. And the humanistic part is you get to be client focused. I very much get to be myself in the room, which is important, to give people feedback and to know that you're dealing with another human being. I'm not just sitting back listening and waiting for you to figure it out. I'm very much active in the process.
Awesome. So you're one of the therapists there. Who are you? You mentioned you have other rooms in your practice. Who else is there with you?
We have there's 3 of us total. Myself, Natasha Marrero, and Carmela Masters. Both Carmela and Natasha joined me from my graduate school, the Michigan School of Professional Psychology, and they've just recently come on in the last few months. And one of the things that was very important to me was finding someone from the same school of thought that I was trained. It was important for me to find people that did therapy the same way, had similar beliefs and approaches, because it's kind of my name, it's my reputation, and I want people to follow, the mission that I set forth in a way similar, because there are so many different ways to approach treatment, to provide treatment, and I wanted us to be pretty similar. Natasha is from Puerto Rico, so she is Spanish speaking. So I think
great asset.
Oh yeah, I think we're one of the only places in Livingston County that has a bilingual therapist that's able to provide resources in multiple languages. So I think that sets us apart.
That's amazing.
Too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you were able to share that today. Now, what are some unique qualities to treatment and patient care that you guys offer? I know you've already mentioned some, but I didn't know if there was some additional ones that you wanted to target today.
I think some of the unique qualities to treatment starts at the very first phone call you make. Every time you call, you are going to get a live person answering the phone and helping you set up your account, answering questions, and just that first human contact is really important, because sometimes starting therapy, just making that phone call is a huge step for people, and we want to make that as easy as possible. Like I said, offering in-person therapy as well as virtual gives people some flexibility of schedule, of comfort level. We want to make sure that we are providing the safest environment, and we go over that. We share not only what we do to sanitize and keep our place clean and safe, but also ethics, confidentiality. We explain the whole process, and we want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, not just what they're sharing emotionally, but in every aspect of human life.
Well, Stephanie, it sounds like you really just created an outstanding place for people to go and to help people, and that is such an asset to our community. We are so grateful and thankful to have you here and your services. If somebody wanted to contact you, how might they do that?
You can go to our website, icounselingmi.com, or you can call our office directly at 517-376-3002.
Awesome. Well, I did want to mention that you are incredibly involved in the community, including the Howell Rotary and with the Howell Chamber as well. And we thank you for your give back to the community and the support that you offer the community in more ways than just your community service. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to our next guest.